Eddie, I've sent you an invite to speak. See. Introduced before, our guests are ready on call. I see Mr. Dinanguro ready on call. Elias Lesson KARUGANGA is able to speak. Maybe we could have a word from him as to invite our first guest as Derek joins us. I want to divide it well so that Derek is joining for the young lawyers. I'll be the one to introduce Derek as and when he comes in. Yeah, over to you, Elson, as we begin. Thank you. Elson, are you able to?
Hello? Yes, I hope you can hear me.
Yes, we can. Yeah, thank you.
Greetings to everybody from wherever you are. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. It is a great opportunity. I'm not going to be on for long because I have to be at an event, but I am in Addis with none other than Eddie. colleagues and friends from across the border, if I can call it that. I was going to say from overseas, but maybe it's not necessarily overseas. Today we shine a light on what's happening in the profession. We shine a light on the incredible activities with the good news coming from the East. We listen to a wise man from the East, a man who has held the fort of the Uganda Law Society through very troubling times, who has galvanized not just the Eastern Bar, but the National Bar, who has provided leadership, who has fought against backlog practically, who has fought against injustice openly, who has pushed the agenda of a more inclusive, more exposed bar, and who is bringing the unity, who is bringing unity across the country. That's none other than Mr. Dinangulu. But we also have none other than another advocate, an advocate who was once the chairperson of the Young Lawyers Committee, but more than that, a person who really I have known as an advocate, who has also fought the causes of the Ugandan bar quietly and in a profound and substantial manner. You will forgive the noise that's coming from where I am. I'm trying to enjoy life while attending the space. But our guest has been an incredible source of strength for many in the bar. He was once the chairperson of the Young Lawyers Committee. He's a ferocious advocate if there is one, but at the same time he's a gentleman par excellence. Had he been a soldier, he would have been referred to as an officer and a gentleman. And what we have is an officer and a gentleman in every respect. Mr. Derek, at the same time he's a gentleman par excellence. Had he been a soldier, he would have been referred to as an officer and a gentleman. And what we have is an officer and a gentleman in every respect, Mr. Derek Mazekuketa. And so we are honored to have both gentlemen joining us today. And on my behalf and on behalf of the Judicial Service Conversations, gentlemen, this platform is the parliament of the bar, the fireside of the bar, where ideas are exchanged, where we think of how we can progress the day and the place forward. And we are honored, we are privileged, and we are humbled to have you here. So from Addis Ababa, welcome to the Judicial Service Conversations. And maybe I'll start with Eddie. I hope you guys can all hear me, but...
Yes, we can.
Who have not heard you here before?
Yes, we
Would
can.
be to you, Eddie. Tell us about yourself. Who are you and what makes you tick? What makes the heart of Mr. Nangulu beat all faster?
Good evening, Elison, Alfred, and everybody on the call. I hope you can hear me.
Yes, we can hear you, Mr.
My name is Nangulu Eddie. I am an advocate. I practice generally within the Eastern region. Though beyond that, of course, the practice of law stretches all over the country. I am a partner at a law firm called Nangulu and Mugoda Advocates, where we are championing and pioneering a new justice phenomenon. The approach that demands that justice should be a right for every citizen and not a privilege for few. We are changing our spaces, changing the trajectory, changing the face of the profession. I am, as was said by by Museveni recently. He said he is formerly a young person when he was being asked about his relation with the young people. I am also a young person, but very, very passionate about the law, about justice, about equality, and the rule of law.
So you reduce
that is the most I can
actually you leave it,
for
which I
now.
reduce,
I will
then
build up
you
more
leave
as
that
we
method
carry
from
this
the
conversation.
doors.
Yes, sir.
You can increase it.
Thank you.
Thank you, Eddie. I don't know if Derek is on.
Yes, he's on. You can actually say hi to us.
Derek, could you just, I think for Derek, it's your maiden appearance here. If you could just greet our people and tell them who you are and what makes you tick.
Thank you so much, Elson. Thank you so much, Elson. My name is Derek Bazokuketa, a former young lawyer. I'm an advocate of the High Court of Uganda. I work with Olympia Advocates. I think that's it for now. I am the former chairperson of the Uganda Law Society Young Lawyers Committee. I hold a Bachelor of Laws degree and a Master of Laws degree from Makerere University. I'm passionate about the law and legal practice. Yes, thank you so much, Jason.
Okay, thank you. If you're just joining us, welcome to the Judicial Service Conversations Special Edition. Some of us are coming to you all the way from Addis, myself and Eddie. I will have to be jumping off a call much earlier because I'm supposed to be at a dinner. I don't know if maybe you are at the same dinner that I'm supposed to be at. But I'll reconnect when I get to the dinner. But for now, let me hand over to Alfred Nyaka, and you can also introduce Simon. I see we have a new student of Simon Yakosho. I think it's only fair to our listeners that Mr. Simon Yakosho also tells us who he is and what makes him tick. This judicial service conversations, ladies and gentlemen,
I'm going to go
the
to just a minute.
fireside chat of the place where ideas are developed and the place where at the end of the day we shall shape our bar because we're able to speak, and we follow the principle that nobody can stop reggae, and we also follow the principle that when the judicial service election comes, there is anyway, that will be another matter. But Simon, over to you.
Just a minute. I'm not good. Yeah, as we just reduce. Yeah, as we said today, we are launching the service conversation young lawyer version as young lawyer series. So it was only fair that we should have one other young lawyer join us to co-host this conversation, and I would to really do justice for him to introduce himself, because I may leave out one or two of his good titles as a young lawyer. How about you, Simon?
Thank you so much, Alfred and Elson. I hope I'm clear. I also extend my greetings. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening from wherever you're joining. I'm Simon Nyakojo are my names, and I'm yet to be a young lawyer. Finalizing bar course, but my passion for the law and the trajectory the law takes is very, very important for me. And I've always had passion in contributing meaningfully to any judicial service conversation that happens, and I'm glad to join you this evening and in many other series to come, considering that we'll be launching the maiden judicial service conversation series for the young lawyers. and I'm glad that I'm taking part in this conversation, very critical, timely conversation that will be shaping the future of a legal profession. Thank you so much, Alfred and Elson.
Thank you, Simon. I'm sure that was a befitting introduction. I don't know whether, Elson, you want to, since you are both in Addis Ababa, you want to pose the first question to Eddie before we get the one to Derek, before you also leave us to go and attend your dinner. I see Eddie has left the call, so I think as Eddie tries to sort his network, we'll first go back to Derek. I'm sure when you asked him, you know, our first question here of who is Derek, who are you, what makes you tick. I've been following Derek since 2021. You're not very old, but since 2020, around 2019, especially from the first article. There's that article I read when you were about P&2 exams. I was that moment when I was also fearing P&2 exams, and I was looking at the point. Actually, I made a case where. For the P&2 exams, but you're imagining you're leaving like law school as the best candidate, then before the unite they say you have failed P&2 exams, you can't join the bar course. So it wasn't even about the issue, but what would the public expect after you have failed? I was also at that point where I was like, what should I expect? Yeah, then before you know it, I see Derek passing the P&2 exams. Also, actually leaving Makerere as a top graduate, passing the bar course as amongst the best with the name of the lady who works with URA now, I'm sure. Charlotte, yeah, Charlotte. So I was always inspired. Before you know it, short sit at a farm. Before you know it, is starting in another farm as a partner. I'm like, that's too much raising at a faster pace. So I was quietly inspired from the inside. So when you're introducing yourself, you left out that bit of the story, which inspired me, which you have never known. But we need that bit of the story so that others get inspired as the way I was inspired. From the headlines, I would read those posts on Facebook, people asking you to get married, the things they keep asking me. So it was really fun. I've been the headlines being inspired, and we appreciate, and we are glad to have you today. Tonight, as we introduced the young lawyers, when we talked about introducing this young lawyers version, I'm like, I now have many young lawyers. I don't know whether Derek is a young lawyer, but I need him here to be the person to maintain this conversation. So, Derek, the first you want to know who you are, what makes you tick, and that journey to this point. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Alfred.
You're unmuted.
Thank you so much, Alfred. We've been online friends for a while now,
Yes.
and I really like what you're doing. You see, you represent the idea that you do not need to hold a position to make a difference. I see you've made a lot of difference and impact in the lives of young people. I commend you for it, and I'm rooting for you. Who is Derek? I usually tell this story. I come from a very humble background, raised by a single mother. I really wanted to study law because my mom had a small plot of land that I wanted to protect. So I thought by becoming a lawyer, I would be empowered to defend and protect her. That was one of the reasons why I joined law school. And I also, coming from a humble background, you also see the community, the environment, and you see similarly situated single mothers and vulnerable people trying to survive, and you see the social injustice around you, and you want to make a difference. So that was one of the reasons, that was the major reason why I wanted to study law. And when I joined law school, I know we don't have a lot of time on this space, but it was also a miracle for me to join law school because I got to know about the Makerere Law School pre-law school exam just a day before the closing date. And I rushed. I had to borrow money to pay for the registration fees. And lucky enough, I knew my mom could not afford the tuition and all the expenses that came with that. But as I was about to submit, I was told that if you filled in the government forms, you can still maintain government. Now, coming from another high school, which is a school that is not known, I thought I couldn't compete at this level with these students. That's why I had filled in the private form. But I said, okay, let me take my chance. I cancelled private and took government. Results came back. I was among the best, and I got a government scholarship. So by God's grace, I didn't have to worry about tuition. Yeah. Now it came to law school. You know, school. The first year is really about the people you know, the schools you come from, and I was the only student from my school, so I was representing the school, the village. Yes. Yeah. But by God's grace, I managed to perform well. By fourth year, I was on top of my class, and I got my first award, the Chief Justice Award from the Makerere Law Society. Then later, we had to join LDC, and there was the pre-entry exam. I think, Alfred, that's why you saw the article. I was really worried that you can't top at Makerere and then fail the pre-entry exam. So that is really I wanted the pre-entry exam to be scrapped because of that selfish reason. But also the other reason was to it is really unfair to accredit a program and disqualify students who hold degrees that have been accredited simply because they failed to make the pass mark in just one exam. By the time you get a law degree, you have passed over 40 exams. So it's really unfair to be assessed by one exam and you disqualified for that reason. Yes, so LDC, we studied, and again, by God's grace, I got the Chief Justice Award. Now, it was time to face the real world. Remember, everyone says, you may succeed in school, but ku ground, so I didn't want to be an example of, yes, that guy, maybe he was lucky in school, but not so lucky in practice. Yes. So I made very bold decisions. Yes. I remember my first job was in one of the top law firms at Bowman's. Then 2 weeks into the job, I'm called at Shonubi Msoke, which is now S&M, SM and Company Advocates. So I made the decision to leave Bowman's, went to Shonubi, but all along I wanted to redefine legal practice. I wanted to be able to make my own decisions. And you know, when you're employed, you're not able to do that. And being a fresh graduate then, it was very easy for me to make bold decisions because I was not married, I had no kids, so the only person I had to sustain was myself. So it was very easy for me to make some of those decisions. But I didn't want to be employed for long. And during that time, I think I was employed for a total of 6 months in 2 law firms until I decided to go out and start fighting. Yes, and the journey started with, I remember President Semakade calling me for a meeting in his chambers and telling me, Derek, what you did is really bold. People want to join this, want to join the big law, but you decided to leave. I'm actually going to be watching. I remember I did my first high-profile case with President Semakade, and that was the Stella Nyanzi case. And again, this speaks to the young lawyers. The idea is that if you're a young lawyer, they associate you with technology, and Stella Nyanzi's case was really about the Computer Misuse Act, cybercrime, and it also dealt with the fundamental rights and freedoms, and this also really was within why I really studied law. So it was really an interesting case. And I remember I was given the opportunity to cross-examine a government witness, an expert. Now, the only expertise I had was computers and the law, which is a course unit in the LLB program. But it was a success. Later, on the issues that we raised, we were able to raise fundamental questions that not only helped us succeed on appeal, but also they helped to redefine the computer misuse law. And the government, because it failed now to link computers and the individuals to Uganda, then that was really scrapped. So it doesn't matter where, in the amendment, it doesn't matter where you are. So because they had a big challenge in the Stella Nyanzi case and subsequent cases. Yes, so after that, I also did some cases. I remember one of the cases that in my early years of practice, and I feel old right now, but I did one of the Formula Feeds case, Formula Feeds versus KCB,
Yes.
where we set aside a sale of 3.5 billion. The bank had sold at 3.5 billion. We valued the property at over 7 billion. And in that case, I faced one of my former PAs at LDC. And, you know, succeeding in that case came with the Stella Nyanzi case and other cases. I got nominated for the Young Lawyer Rising Star of the Year in 2021. I made it to the finals. Yes. So that is the journey, really, briefly.
Wow. That's the real story I really wanted, so that everyone gets inspired up to this point. You will tell us where to find you as of now after leaving Big Law. Actually, me, when I read that you had left Big Law, I was like, because everyone admires to join Big Law, and 6 months later, with that paycheck, which you know that is going to come every month, and like, for me, let me go on the streets and see whatever will come. It was big, and I also used to pray from Gaba Community Church every Sunday. Yes, and usually I was just studying on weekend, but the first lecture up to 9, I know I would dodge it so that I first pray and before I come. So I just knew I was being sad from afar, like, yeah, if he's making it, I will also make it. And I think it inspired me to the point that as you talk about Chief Justice Award, I also ended up being the director's assistant. ELISON was a surprise that I was on that list when I told you. I was like, even you. But yeah, and we have been inspired. So as maybe me, for us, we are leading with positions. For you, you led the Young Lawyers Committee for quite a big time. So we just want to get from you, as before you get ready, at least just rolling on the same tune, we want to understand what did you experience, what the experience of being on the Young Lawyers Committee teach you about the real issues facing young lawyers today or young advocates today?
Well, I think my experience stems not just being on that committee, but also being a young lawyer at that time. And what the young lawyers were going through at that time, about 2 years ago, were the same things that I was going through. So my experience is partly in terms of leadership, but also as a participant. I'll give an example. I did I did an election petition, and I used to receive some comments from a judicial officer calling me, referring to the other senior lawyers as Counsel so-and-so, Mr. So-and-so, but when it came to me, I was referred to as Derek and the group. So you find that age was playing a factor and experience in terms of how I was being referred to during the proceedings. But it also opened doors to understanding some of the major issues that we go through. Some people thought I was privileged even at that point, because I was self-employed.
Yes.
Yes, but you would look at. So I experienced things from an employer's perspective, but also but also from an employee's perspective. Most of the issues that most of the issues that would arise related to the welfare of young lawyers. I know we are in a very small economy. We don't have a minimum wage, but you'll also understand that even before we get into welfare, you also had issues to do with unemployment. And unemployment, and when you have a supply, when the supply is high and you have a low demand, it will definitely affect the prices, the price here being the salaries. So those were issues where young lawyers were complaining a lot about how much they earn. And I remember there was a discussion that targeted senior lawyers and how they were paying. So I thought to myself, now, do I fall among the senior lawyers because I'm an employer, or do I fall among the young lawyers?
So we can hear you. Have you unmuted?
Yes.
Sorry, we had lost that bit. Let me see. Derek, can you first speak and see?
My mic is on.
I think now you can be heard. Eswan, can you hear Derek?
Yes, I'm on.
Okay. I don't know where we lost him. Does he need to go back to where he started from? Or all right. Thank you, sir. Derek, you may proceed.
Yes. So some of the challenges that we faced. Are you able to hear me? Could you kindly confirm?
Yes, we can hear you.
Yes. Most of the challenges that we faced related to the welfare of the young lawyers. But I also noticed during the annual Young Lawyers Conference that we needed a lot of skilling and improving ourselves as young lawyers. Even in court, you would meet colleagues, and there are decisions that you think everyone should know, but these were issues that we were not bothered with as young lawyers. So as we demanded for a pay rise, we were not, many times we do not improve ourselves as young lawyers. I'll tell you that if you improve yourself, if you have the skills, the market is there, and you'll definitely be paid according to your skills. I'll give an example. Imagine I had colleagues who were not employed when I was starting, but 2 weeks into a job, I'm given an offer. And I also had other colleagues who equally were improving themselves and they had jobs. So when you get to realize that after school, things are very different. It does not matter which university you attended, which grades you have. What matters to a client is, are you able to get the result for me? And these were issues that we were trying to deal with when we organized the Young Lawyers Symposium, to be able to inspire the young lawyers to improve on the knowledge and the skills. So these were some of the issues that opened my mind. But I also noticed that professional courtesy, I think, declined, which is very dangerous for us. You would notice that sometimes, you know, the senior lawyers are our employers, of course. With time, they employ us. But if you go to court and then you want your file to be called first, one, you're not going to learn from them. Imagine you're going to the Supreme Court and you want your file to be called first. You do not know how you're going to deal with these justices. You do not know how you're going to address court. But if you get to allow the senior lawyers go first, you learn from their mistakes. And now you also have the advantage of age, because they will think, oh, this is they're learning, so we should help them. You get it. So, but it all comes down to if you're able to appreciate professionalism and courtesy. So these are some of the things that we were not taught in school, but then we had to deal with them. So, and sometimes you would also look at the knowledge gap. We identified issues of the knowledge gap. And Alfred, I don't know how you're going to help us improve our knowledge, but it's a very big issue even now. I remember also a conversation. This brings me to some conversation. I remember I was working on a case with a colleague, and when they came to serve me, it was a divorce case. They came to serve me, and I said, oh, it's a divorce case. It involves children, and this is a family. I can't just rush to court. So I was dealing with another young lawyer. Then I moved out to meet a young lawyer. And again, I think the young lawyer didn't, this was a case that they were passionate about, and they really wanted to go all the way. I moved out, tried to talk to this young lawyer. And I told this person that, well, I appreciate you're just getting your PC now, your first PC. How can't we discuss this matter? Ordinarily, I should not have left my chambers to go and meet a colleague who enrolled much later than me. Ideally, professionally, he should have come to me and probably talked to me. But I left my chambers, went to meet him. He was still in his car. And he felt like, no, this is a good case for me, I'll proceed with it. So I told him, well, I did this because I'm a young lawyer myself, and the chairperson of the Young Lawyers Committee. So it's important that as young lawyers, we help each other. The next thing I see, I'm on some WhatsApp group saying there is the chairperson of the Young Lawyers Committee is using his position to intimidate a young lawyer. Then another, what I heard was I was using my position to stop a young lawyer from becoming a magistrate. Now, being a chairperson of the Young Lawyers Committee of the Uganda Society, you completely have no power you have no say in the Judicial Service Commission by virtue of your position.
Yes.
But these were things coming up. Eventually, what I did is I said, okay, I'll retaliate. So the lawyer applied for summons for directions. I said, I'm going to get petty. I went to court and opposed and opposed directions. I told court, summons for directions do not apply to divorce petitions. I made reference to but I was, and the court agreed. But I was being petty to show that what should have been a simple case can actually become complicated. But I'm glad that eventually we were able to talk and we got a consent out of that divorce. But And now, actually, we are very good learned friends with the lawyer. Now he's senior, and I think he sees things from a different perspective from they were then. And next time, when issues arose, again, that from the petition, from the consent, he reached out, we met, we talked. So you see, it was a different engagement. Yes. So these are some of the issues that I noticed as the chairperson of the Young Lawyers Committee, but also as a practicing young lawyer.
Wow. If you're just joining us, yes, as the well, if you're just joining us, really, we're indeed introducing the Young Lawyers Service conversation. As Derek was wondering how we are going to bridge the knowledge gap, we started also, it has already started bridging the knowledge gap. When you talked of that they don't use summons for direction is in the first petition is, I saw Simon noting down that as he prepares for his exams, he was going to apply for summons for direction is in the first petition is. And at this juncture, I think I want to bring on, but I agree with you, that point of if we have skills, the market is there and you are paid according to your skills. I keep telling some of my colleagues that we're in a very tough stage whereby employers are looking for lawyers to employ, and even us, we are saying that we want to be employed. You can find like an employer saying, I'm looking for a young lawyer to employ, but like, there are very many young lawyers who are looking for jobs, but it's because of that skill gap. So, because the employers always want that person who is ready to hit the ground running, I think that's where the mentorship comes in. I used to tell my colleagues that whatever you ask, just tell him you can do. So whatever you can do, you can always come back and reforge your way, because they no longer have the time and Simon is inspired. So I'll just take over Simon to ask his question to Eddie. I'm sure he's now back before you get back to you. Thank you.
All right. Talking about the knowledge gap, really, indeed, it has been breached. It has been bridged, rather. And I hope even some young lawyers in attendance have been able to pick that, and they have taken notes. And I learn a lot from your experiences, and I think they will be crucial early next year. All right, I will move to Mr. Edna Ngulu. Mr. Edna Ngulu, confirm that you can hear me on your end. Kindly unmute. All right, thank you so much. Mr. Eddie.
Increase your volume. Increase your volume. Proceed.
So, Mr. Eddie, you represent the Uganda Law Society Eastern Bar, and today's topic, we are talking about the latest in from the bar. And certainly, I'm told, I was moving around the corridors, and I used some other senses, and I heard that there is something that the Eastern Bar is planning, and that something is called the Eastern Bar Run. Could you kindly start by telling us what exactly is the Eastern Bar Run as one of the latest from the bar, and what inspired its creation, Mr. Eddie?
lawyer. The young lawyers jump out to class and they have much more than believe they are going to pay off for the house inspector and they are going to wow the court with something.
I don't know if there is some interruption on your side.
But it is a different story. In this practice here, applicants are working
I don't know if there is some interruption on your side.
story. In this practice here, advocates are working on 6 hours. People are working.
He's actually off, but I don't know. Yeah, he's off, unfortunately. But he was really trying to brief us about the Eastern Bar Run and talking of mental health for young lawyers and why it is really a must attend for us to join. But he was really trying to join. Eastern Bar Run. No, he's still a listener. I think you should have allowed him to join the lawyers, sorry, the top law firms. I think where you had a better network. I think where you had a better network.
Ladies and gentlemen, if you're just joining us, welcome to the Judicial Service Conversations. And I think we were just hearing from Mr. Nangulu Eddie. I think if he could put in back his request. I mean, you knew from the East, and we're also launching the Young Lawyers series of Judicial Service Conversations. The idea behind that launch is that we must start hearing from the younger bar. They have always alleged that some of us are old lawyers. Fortunately, I am here in the conference with Professor Sempebwa. So I am one of the young lawyers, I can tell you that for sure, here in the conference. Mr. Shonubi is here as well, so I think I am really a very young lawyer. I am confident again in my youngness as a lawyer. Please, if you could add Eddie back on. Alf?
Yes, I'm trying to. I've sent him an invite to speak, and I just need to accept it.
We're also, if you're just joining us, we're also discussing the run and the mental health challenge that the Eastern Bar is coming up with. There's a huge challenge and a huge struggle that lawyers are struggling with mental health. Of course, and I'm going to say something that may, of course, the struggle is real and clear. But if you're just joining us, once again, welcome to the Judicial Service Conversations. We are coming to you from everywhere in the world. I can see someone is on from New York City, and he's there wearing a Nobody Can Stop Reggae shirt in the cold winter of New York. Welcome, Mr. Opio Nicholas. I can see a lot of colleagues from everywhere. The whole idea is that we must have the conversations that matter, that move the needle, that change our society, and we bring forth people who are doing just that. That the Eastern Bar Run is focused entirely on getting mental health on the challenge that colleagues are struggling with mental health. If you look at the numbers, I think Eddie, when he comes on, he'll tell you, but the legal profession is actually more prone to a mental breakdown. And I think someone has done a study saying that 28% of lawyers suffer depression, 19% suffer severe anxiety, This number, of course, goes higher whenever you're about to receive a decision. 11% actually are suicidal. 83% endure immense pressure and significant stress on a daily basis. I think this 83% is an understatement. Legal work is immensely stressful. Lawyers suffer from burnout, irritability, substance abuse, and eventual breakdown. Beyond the mental strain occasioned by significant stress, our profession endures substantial levels of secondary trauma because we relieve the trauma and ordeal of our clients. Through our interviews, through visiting them, through court testimony, we relive their harrowing experiences. And this leaves a significant impact on our own mental health. Advocates will tell you, Derek will tell you himself, because he has talked about some of his cases. There comes that moment in a case or in a trial where you're representing someone, the bank is taking their property, everything has happened and the property has now gone. Or like that case he was telling you about where the case is revalued, just the sort of stress and anguish you go through. Or in a criminal trial, or in these trials where you keep going to prison to meet people, the stress, the frustration, the anger of the clients. We become the counselors. We soak in the stress, we soak in the pain, we soak in the shock of many of our clients, and many of us end up carrying burdens we shouldn't. Visiting people's children, dropping them off at school. Of course, I know a colleague who took it the other way around, of course. In a divorce matter, he ended up counseling the lady too much that we ended up going for their wedding together. So we really take on, most of us take on the stress, but this gentleman always sees the positive. And so the Eastern Bar is doing a mental health run. I don't know if Eddie is back. Alfred, is Eddie back?
He was back again. He has dropped off.
Oh dear. But anyway, the Eastern Bar is doing this mental health run, which Eddie is at the heart of, and doing a number of stakeholder engagements on mental health. And I think the proceeds, they're collecting money, and I think the proceeds will go to the acquisition of, will also go to help premature babies. They've done, I think they've done a lot of activities like that. This is not the first one. And but I think the idea of the health run and the mental health, the idea of the run and the mental health week is to create legitimate engagement and support on and help us to efficiently handle the challenges and stresses that we have as lawyers. So first of all, allow me to salute the incredible ideas of the Eastern Bar, because that's one area that we lawyers are not really alive to. I mean, you're sitting in a case and your client's property is going, your client's marriage is going, your client's reputation is going, your client's liberty is going, and all the stress and the pressure is on you. And you go before a judicial officer and you witness injustice, and it comes back, it bites you, you go back the next day, you go back the next day. So many of us end up carrying the pain. People look at the legal profession and say, but you lawyers, do you have a conscience? Do you care about what happens? Can you represent someone who is entirely in the wrong? Those are the main questions you get from the public. What the public doesn't get is that we are really the holy profession, because almost like in the holy books, we are not just intercessors, but we are pain bearers. We are cross carriers. We are the people who walk with you through it. If you're looking at a transaction, even if a lawyer is doing corporate and commercial transactions, you sit up all through the night until the deal is done, until the documents are done, until everything is dotted and signed. And so because of that, there's severe strain. Who is going to take the pain of the pain bearer? Who is going to take the pain of the legal carrier? And These are some of the ideas that Mr. Nangulu has come with to help us see through this issue. Now, as you can see, that I have literally become the guest and the spokesman of Mr. Nangulu, so he has also become my client because of his network connectivity. So, but this is okay because for me, I'm the lawyer's lawyer, so I can take that on. But maybe as we are waiting for Eddie to come back on, maybe I'll take the opportunity to ask Derek. Derek, here we are launching the Young Lawyers series for the Judicial Service Conversations. You chaired the Young Lawyers Committee and you've given us some of your experiences. Would you agree with me that this series is necessary? And what's your view on the fact that we are going to launch a series, a Judicial Service Conversation for young lawyers? We'll in the coming weeks, we shall say the form in which this series will take. But today we want to kick off and say that we shall certainly reserve a certain portion of this series to address the young lawyer issues. And my question to you, Derek, as a former chairperson of young lawyers, and yourself as a former young lawyer, because surely Derek is not a young lawyer anymore. He's now in my generation of young lawyers. So as an immediately former young lawyer,
I may hold out as a young lawyer
and a new old lawyer. What do you think this series is important, Derek? Over to you.
Thank you so much, Eli. These discussions are very, very, very important. They give us a platform to share ideas and knowledge and be able to have interactions and candid and honest conversations. For example, I may forget that I'm no longer a young lawyer. Yeah. But on a more serious note, this is very timely. When you look at the demographics, when you look at now the composition of the Uganda Law Society and actually the bench, you notice that you have more and more young people joining the profession, but also joining the bench. Before, right now, I remember we were in Entebbe High Court, and the judge asked, "Who is?" The judge there starts with cases of the senior lawyers, and you look for the senior lawyers. You can't tell. Now you have to. One, you look at you think it's age that would determine. So you sometimes you let a colleague go first because you think age. So it's increasingly becoming a profession of the young people. You have so many young lawyers joining the profession, and I think because of that, you see that now even the series, you're moving more towards the young people. How do we get them involved in these conversations? How do we shape the future of the profession? The young lawyers are the future of the profession, but they are also the future of the bench. So if you do not have these conversations, you are losing out so much on the profession, but also on the judicial officers that are going to join. If we have these conversations, we're able to talk about issues that affect us as young lawyers. For example, I'm sure if we have Alfred joining the bench, and he has heard about me complaining about referring to me as Derek and the group, I'm sure he will be more courteous when it comes to the way he treats other young lawyers. So these conversations, these discussions will help us really be able to share our experiences and forge a way towards a better society. I'll tell you now, if you asked for, if you made a call for a position, most of the people you're going to get are going to be young lawyers. I do not know the statistics now, Alfred. I think you must have done more research than myself on this. But I think as we speak, the society has about over 50% being young lawyers. And eventually, you'll find that the young lawyers will take over. And trust me, they will determine most of the way affairs of the society will be run. Again, Alfred, you see, we are here because of you. And you find that the courts are also coping up. They are trying to also adjust to that. You find that now the magistrates, you don't need experience. As long as you've enrolled, you're able to get onto the bench as young as 1 day old into practice. So the series will help us be able to have consensus on major issues affecting both the bar and the bench. Because really the bar is where we get the judges. So if you don't have a good and vibrant bar, you'll equally not have a good and vibrant bench. So if we do not shape Alfred through these conversations, trust me, he will be one of the judicial officers that we all do not like. But if we are able to guide Alfred during this period, when Alfred gets to the bench, we'll be confident that we have a good judge in Alfred on the bench. So, Eli, this is very timely, and I want to commend you and Alfred for this initiative, and I look forward to having more discussions and more engagements. And if we can also have at least physical interactions, they will really help the young lawyers. And also, if we can have physical interactions with the judicial officers, I think they will also help them see the young lawyers not as junior colleagues or an inferior group, but as equals, as colleagues, and as people who have something to contribute towards the profession and the administration of justice.
Yes, Derek, thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, if you're just joining us, today we are launching the Judicial Service Conversation Young Lawyer Series version. You know, since February this year, we have been having these conversations, but we have been thinking mission-based judges, access to justice, we have also policymakers, we have been hosting mostly senior lawyers, and at this point we are like, but we've hosted almost everyone, but we are leaving out the future of the profession. So we are hosting people who are about to leave the profession. Yes, they are forwarding to us, but the people they are leaving the profession, we are not talking about them. We have been hosting people to talk about access to justice, but the people who are enabling people to access that justice, the young lawyers, we are leaving them out. We are talking about mission-based judges. So we are really now speaking of people who are 15 years in practice who qualified mission-based judges. But what about us, the young lawyers? Don't we qualify to be mission-based magistrates or what? So we are having policymakers. So, and the young lawyers are the future and are the tomorrow's policymakers. So we have been leaving them out. And I'm sure this is a good cause. And we are glad to have none other than Derek to be the chief guest as we start these conversations. And this young lawyer in front of me is burning with another question. He's now excited of this series, which are talking about now young lawyers. And over to you, Simon, before this one comes back. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Alfred. I keenly listened to the conversation with Mr. Derek. It is. I don't think at this time I can call you a former young lawyer. I think you represent a clear picture of what actually young lawyers are going through, what is happening in the community. It is a wide community. It looks like ODC releases about 3,000, and I think the pool is yet to expand. When we arrive, the pool will have added about 4,000 at the time. So you underscore how important it is a timely conversation to have. and why the Young Lawyers Judicial Service Commission Conversation series is it is its time to be able to have these kinds of conversation, and we see the nature of the impact we have. Well, you have discussed a lot, and I have about 10 or 8 points, but let's address the elephant in the room, Derek. You know, what do you see as the top three objectives that this new series is intending to achieve in regard to the young lawyers community, given the background you've already laid down, Mr. Derek?
Thank you so much. I think to a young lawyer, the most important thing to any young lawyer is their welfare. It is something that has been around for some time, and it's something that cuts across every profession. So before we get into everything else, a young lawyer should be able to survive. They should be able to afford meals. They should be able to afford housing, the basics. So I believe and think and humbly submit that the series should focus more on the welfare of the young lawyers in terms of, and this is this encompasses jobs, how they are paid, and survival. I'll tell you, as for the first about 2 years of my practice, I stayed in hostel for that time. And this is the reality. You do not have the money to rent an apartment. One, you can't go back home. You're now probably 25, so you need to start your own life. So I stayed at Pearlview Hostel for quite an extended time for me to be able to live within my means and also to be able to survive. And these are, now I may be among the limited few who could. Of course, there are people who could afford apartments even at that time. But you find that some people could not even afford it because they had no job. So I cannot engage in a discussion of access to justice, these complicated topics, if, one, I'm hungry, I do not know where my next meal will come from, and I don't know where probably I have rental areas. So the welfare of lawyers, and you find that most of the discussions have always been about we are paid very little money. We need to be respected and appreciated, both in terms of speech, but also economically in terms of how much we are paid. So the series will, and I think should aim at helping us, even us the former young lawyers and the young lawyers, to improve our welfare. And sometimes when you talk about the mental health, the burnout is actually very real. But how can I afford a trip to maybe Dubai to just go and relax? How can I afford maybe even a local trip or vacation or staycation if I don't have the money? So the welfare will actually even affect my mental health. So if we are stressed because we are not able to meet the basics. So I'm not able to ably represent a client if I cannot even afford the basics of a meal. I can't go to court if I'm hungry. I'll just collapse in court. Yeah? And you realize that some workplaces do not actually provide meals. But you're expected to work. You volunteer in a place, but you're not even given something as basic as a meal. So Alfred and Ellie and the entire team, I think that objective should be considered. The second is talent, skills, and knowledge development. I read Tomorrow's Lawyers, and the author argues that the Tomorrow's Lawyers will not be hired because of the firm in which they are practicing, but because of their unique skills. And we see that happening even now. Clients will look for you because of your skills, because of your knowledge, because of your talent, and not because of the firm that you work with. I'll tell you, I've represented some clients that should be represented by top senior lawyers, but because they have some trust and probably someone has recommended. So you're hired because of your skill, your talent. So the series should focus also on improving our skills, because once we have the skills, one, it's good for opposite counsel, because we will not argue about a principle.
Yes, yes.
We will not get into issues of who has the burden to prove. Because we know in civil cases, the plaintiff has the burden to prove their case. And we also know he who alleges must prove. So I will not start shifting the burden. They will not shift the burden to you. You will also appreciate that at least you move. It will save you time, even in legal arguments. Sometimes I remember I received pleadings, and it was an application for reinstatement of a suit. And the lawyer made an argument that a suit was dismissed under Order 9, Rule 22 of the Civil Procedure Rules, but the court is now functus officio, and the matter is res judicata. Now, sometimes you don't know what to say, because we all know that once you dismiss a suit under Order 9, Rule 22 of the Civil Procedure Rules for non-appearance, then Order 9, Rule 23 provides that the suit may be reinstated once you prove sufficient cause. But now imagine I have to respond to a PO where there is, after Order 9, Rule 22, there is Order 9, Rule 23. Now, but once we have the knowledge,
Yes.
we will not argue over basic things. And I think it will also help us be competitive. Remember, we're now moving into cross-border practice. Eli and my brother Eddie are right now in Addis, under the East African Law Society. So you're going to have Kenyan lawyers who have equipped themselves, Tanzanian lawyers and other lawyers, and they're able to penetrate the Ugandan market. And when it comes to that point, it will be about your skills. So the series should help us, should design a program that helps us improve our skills, our knowledge, and our talent. And also, employers, they want talent. Right now, employers are headhunting. You're looking for a particular individual. Alfred, you talked about someone looking for, you say, I want a lawyer. And someone says, but there's so many lawyers. But you're looking for a particular lawyer. A lawyer who is able to articulate issues. A lawyer who is knowledgeable about the law. And a lawyer who is able to communicate, who is able to analyze issues. And you may not have so many of those lawyers. You may have a very big pool, but you may, out of 100, you may fail to find even one lawyer who has the skills, the qualities that you're looking for. So it's very important that we also focus on that. And lastly, I think the series should also help us appreciate that we have a duty as lawyers, even as young as we are, to contribute or to give back to the society. And the society being in the broader sense of in the narrow sense of the Uganda Law Society, but also in the broader sense of the public, of the Ugandan community, we are part of the human race, and we understand there are less privileged people who may need our services. So to nurture and instill a culture of that's sense of of social justice, where you feel that you should make a difference. Trust me, you may make all the money from the practice, but you will notice that the most satisfying moment when you sit back will not be the amount of money you made from a particular case, but the life that you changed. So if we are able to also focus on changing lives, creating impact, because at the end of the day, that's the legacy that we leave. People will not care about the car you drive. It doesn't matter if you're driving a Range Rover 2025 model. That only gives satisfaction to you. But if you change just one life, that will make a very big impact. And I think we should also appreciate that you do not need to be in the big law firms, or wherever you are, you're able to make a difference. And if we're able to change just one person, if each advocate, each young lawyer was able to change just one life, imagine how many lives would have changed in a year if we all just said, no, I'm going to stand up for someone whose rights are being violated. I'm going to go and make a bail application for this person. They are released on bail, or I'm going to go and defend this lady whose land is being taken, or this community. And 10 years down the road, you'll notice that these are things that we'll be talking about. I'll give an example of myself. When we did Stella Nyanzi, there was no pay. But of all the cases that I've done, I'm still talking about a Stella Nyanzi case, because there is satisfaction that came from defending the right to freedom of expression. And this is something that we need to know as lawyers and as young lawyers, that you're given these skills, you're given this knowledge, not to enrich yourself, but to be able to make a contribution to the greater good. Your law degree, your practicing certificate is useless if it cannot be used to change a life. So help us change lives.
Thank you so much, Derek. You make pertinent points, especially when you begin with welfare. And and I'm telling you, some time back when this conversation arose on X, and people were having comments that the welfare of a young lawyer is dependent on him, so forth. So there was a lot of conversation that happened, and it ended up, having comments like, if you have a PC, if you're a young lawyer, for heaven's sake, how did this lawyer leave LDC? You remember that there is, it may be when it is all about me, all about my maybe private clients, because before you became a lawyer, you came from a community. I appreciate you gave your background and roles in representation, but I was learning, but I would get satisfaction in when we are able to get a relief for him and other human rights victim violation victims, and it gives some sort of satisfaction that you are not just out there to be seen that, oh, you are just minding about maybe making the money and all that, but you are also saying that before I become a corporate lawyer, I also have rights. So it is important that the jurisprudence we set, we may be the beneficiaries also at one point, because there is a statement that was made by, I think the Chief Judge Emeritus, Mr. Ogola, that Honorable Justice Ogola retired. He said that when you enact laws that pick it on,
to add something to contribution,
Yes.
We focused on the general contribution regarding the wider community, but also the contribution to the law society, to your colleagues. It's very, very important that you also give back to your colleagues. I received a compliment from a colleague who told me, Derek, I have so many friends, but you are the only person. When I was at a point where I was just in my room, I have nothing to do, I have no money, no food, you refer the client to me. Other people have clients, they feel like they cannot work for the money they're offering, and they don't even think about you. But I was really touched because I did not know that a simple act of saying, no, let me refer this client to this person and work with them was actually a very big thing. It didn't even cross my mind. We do not know what colleagues are going through, but a simple act of just remembering that you have a friend or someone that you know and referring a client is important. Or sometimes to help a client, a colleague. We have a clerk. We had a case against the council, and our clerk got an accident. But the person who helped our clerk and drove the clerk to hospital was council on the other side. So this means that the way we interact with colleagues is very, very important. You never know. Now the colleagues I had in my class are magistrates, and I have to go and worship them in court. Yeah. So the way we treat them and understanding our duty to the society, to the law society, to our colleagues and the general public is very, very important and should be emphasized during these interactions. Yes, thank you.
Thank you so much. That one is very important, that you really expand first horizontally from your circles, and then you can expand vertically. Very important points. Now I will hand it over to Alfred, who has since graduated from Young Lawyers but has refused to leave. But all right, over to you, Alfred. You can take it on from there.
Yeah, thank you. Just for the record, I'm still a young lawyer. Maybe to even emphasize, I'm the Deputy Secretary General Young Lawyers Society for the South African Law Society. I was supposed to be in Addis Ababa, but because I didn't decide very well, like my senior here, I decided to have person who owns my time and like, by the way, are you able to be away for a week? There's some work we need to do, but I won't talk about that. Yeah, in this way or the other. But I note, ladies, if you are just joining us, today we are launching the Young Lawyer Youth Service Conversations, and as someone has noted from the comment section, Mr. Igenyi, is thanking us for hosting such an insightful space. Is greatly inspired by how you guys are not just advocating for mentorship and equal opportunities for lawyers, but you are leading by example. Oh, we are glad you are leading by example at that. And not financial. Yes, and even financial related, but when Derek, I think Derek has already given us the few objectives which we need to focus on, the welfare for young lawyers. And when you're giving, at least you entered on living within our means, and I would agree with that. Just to comment on that, because no one else here knows that you, until today, no one ever knows that you lived in your 2 years after, even in practice, when you're living in hostel. But that showed you how to live within your means. And as I told your colleagues, that the problem we face as young lawyers, when we finish law school or you're out in practice, you start spending as outside the things we should spend, instead of spending as you. So we spend to impress society, even society is not even minding about us, instead of living in your own means. And then we try to play the corporate lawyer math. I stay in Chanja, I drive a cash Benz and what? And you run date per date. So I appreciate for sharing the question that you actually can live in your means until you get on your foot.
Maybe to say something.
Yeah,
Hostel was, we used to pay 250,000 per month.
yes.
That way I was not worried about my water bill. I wasn't worried about electricity bills. And I had access to cheap street food. So you could just go outside the hostel, grab a Rolex or fries on the street, go and have a meal. Yes.
Yes, and then when you talked of the talent, skills, and knowledge development, I would agree with you. And even reading the book, I also read the book Tomorrow's Lawyers by Rushad, and I think besides the very many lessons I took, one thing which keeps hitting me on that point of we reach a point whereby clients want to pay more for less. At one point, I think the main question would be around that, to tell us how you juggled that bit, that for you think you should get this, but the clients wants to pay more for less, and because he thinks there are very many lawyers they could get, so you end up finding young lawyers charging what they call a and then because maybe Simon can draw from honest that at 100, so by the time you charge the normal fees, like I know who can do for less. Just an example. So maybe you guide us as you go with the conversation going on forward. And then for that, knowing that we should appreciate that we have a to society. At least after building it to the society generally, even building it to the lawyers, at least I know, I tell my colleagues that I get a lot of nourishment or fulfillment from dealing with young lawyers. And someone says, but one more solution asking, but what the benefit from dealing with young lawyers? Like, there's no money you get from them. What? I'm like, actually, it's the other way around, but you don't know what it means when a person tells you, I passed because of you. And even the money help. There's one time a young lawyer called me and says, my leader, like, I've not had a proper meal for a week. So I'm like, what do you mean by proper meal? Like, I've been having commando at all this for a week. I'm like, so what do you mean by a proper, or how much do you need a proper meal? Like, just 8,000. There is a buffet and I get a buffet. I'm like, okay, so a proper meal is 8,000 and here me 8,000 won't be enough. Give the guy 20 candy. He had the proper meal for 2 days. But whenever he's selling colleagues tells Alfred fed me when I was at all this, I'm like, you man, it was only for 2 days. But that brings me to my next question. There are very many young lawyers on call listening now who are overwhelmed by the profession. When you are mentioning of the percentage of people who are depressed being 28%, I'm sure 20% could be young lawyers. And there could be 1 or 2 of them who is already on call listening to us. I would just want you to share with them just 2 pieces of guidance or inspiration to transition through this life, especially when they are starting their own journey. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Alfred. One thing that every young lawyer should know is that they are not the first and they're not going to be the last. So once you know that, it will help you go through life. About 6 years ago, I was a young lawyer starting out. So if I wasn't the first, the Elis had gone through it, and 6 years later, I'm not the last one. Alfred is also going through it. You're going to join, you go through it. So that should always keep you going, to know that you're not alone in this. You're not broke alone. You're not hungry alone. You cannot afford the Blackstone dictionary alone. So as long as you know that there is a group, you know that you're not setting the precedent. There are so many precedents that came before you, and actually others are going to come after you, and you'll be the precedent. But there are 3 things that are going to help you navigate this life as a lawyer and as a human being. 1, passion. Are you passionate about the profession? Or are you passionate about what you're doing? Whatever you're doing, whether you choose, people think that human rights lawyers don't have money, but then see Nicholas. Nicholas Opio inspires us to move towards human rights, and yes. and NGO civil society law and practice. So, but you see, whatever he's doing, whatever he does, he's passionate about it. So, passion will come in handy because there will be a time when you think you shouldn't go to your workplace because they've not given you transport, they've not given you food, there is no reason for you to go to work. But because you know there is something that you want ultimately, there is a skill you want to develop, there is knowledge that you want to acquire, you'll wake up even when you don't want to, and you'll go to work. The passion will help you do further research than any other lawyer. I'm so passionate about the law that I always prepare. And people who have worked with me sometimes think I'm a perfectionist, yet I'm not. Actually, I as long as something can get done, I'm good. So even if I get instructions from another lawyer, they've drafted something, I always ask myself, am I able to work within this? If I'm able to, I will not change what they've done. I'll just move forward with what they've with the instructions. But what I think in a way sets me apart is that I'm passionate about the law, that I'll first read, do research before drafting. Even for things as basic as an application for an interim order or a state of execution or a suit about trespass, or even for the complicated cases, commercial cases, I always go back to the law, I read it, I go back to cases. That way, I'm very sure that even if someone raises an objection 2 or 3 years later, I'll have considered it, and I know that I'll not be wrong about it. So I had a case that I handled against my former bosses. So I drafted a plaint, and now they filed an application. We were in the commercial court. We wanted, I think we wanted about $25 million. So they wanted to throw out the case at an early stage on grounds of cause of action. So they filed an application. But because I knew that before even drafting the plaint on breach of contract, I had read the law, I was very confident, and we won the application. And they even changed instructions to another law firm. They left the big law and then went to a mid-sized law firm to take over from on the other side. But because you're passionate, you're not allowed to file a defective pleading. Because you're passionate, you read further than just the recent cases. You dig deeper into, you look at the historical development of a principle, and you'll be able to make submissions that move towards that angle. You'll consider other jurisdictions. And once you do that, you see the skills, you're developing the skills, you're getting the knowledge, and you're becoming a talent that people will look for. I did a case with a colleague. It was an application for recusal. We wanted the judicial officer to recuse themselves from a case. And this lawyer was senior to me. So I read my Supreme Court, before making that application, I read a Supreme Court decision that said that recusal proceedings are between court and the applicant. So what I did is I told my senior that these are now proceedings where you cannot defend court. The individual judicial officer is supposed to face it. And I supplied the Supreme Court decision. And the registrar had no option but to agree. And my colleague had to just look on as we interacted with the judicial officer. Now, months later, this senior colleague gives me a call. I remember I was coming from court. He said, Derek, remember that case that you cited in court? Kindly, I'm here. Kindly share it now.
Yes.
Yes, you get it. So passion will take you places. I know when the welfare is not right, passion will fill that gap, and at the right time, you will reap the harvest. The second thing that will help you navigate this journey is people. We all need people, whether as partners in a farm, or as friends, or as colleagues. Remember, we are not allowed to advertise, but we get our work through people. Someone who, I wasn't in that meeting when you were looking for someone to host on this space, but someone mentioned my name. Now, I would not be here if people did not sit and agree that maybe Derek has something to share that we can probably listen to. Your name will be mentioned in a boardroom where you will not be by someone that you've treated right. And that is how you get work. You become a company secretary, you become a legal associate in a firm, in a company, because of someone that you know that you treated right, or that someone that you learned from. Alfred, you've mentioned that someone says that you fed him at LDC because you did a good act. So as you plan on starting your own law firm as a young lawyer, you need people to want to work with, but also people who will bring in business to you. And these people will be very, very important. So the way you treat your colleagues, the way you treat your clients is very important and will help you. It's one thing to get a client, but also your interaction with them. You will not keep clients if you do not handle client management. So your interpersonal skills will come in handy to help you deal with issues. Sometimes it may be a colleague on the other side. They'll be able to point you to your mistake and correct you, because they're not just interested in winning the case, but also in helping you develop. And these are people who will actually call you on to join them in their law firms or in their organizations, or recommend you somewhere else. So people are very important and will always be important on, in this journey. And lastly, God is very, very important. Some of us we say God, others Allah. It does not matter. The faith you have is very important. I'll tell you that I almost missed the Makerere Law School pre-entry exam. I applied on the very last day. I got to know a day before. I had to look for money, but it was by luck that I was able to join. I didn't have the best grades at my A level, whereas I was the best in my school, but that could not help me qualify. I couldn't get a government scholarship, but I was just lucky that as I was about to submit my form, someone said, if you had applied for government, maintain it. So luck will always play a role in this. And how do you get this is by the faith that you have in the Lord. And maybe sometimes you land a client that you do not expect. You're just lucky, but maybe someone is in court, they listen to your argument, and then they take your number and they give you business. So the takeaway in all this is, as you navigate this, as you go through this, as you walk this journey, remember three things: passion, people, and God. Thank you.
Wow. Thank you. Those are good takeaways on navigating the legal journey, especially summary: passion, people, God. So you can just summarize that PPG. And and we talk of passion. Who said Mr. Chaze here, and he says some of you research after failing the cases instead of researching before failing. So I'm glad you're emphasizing it. And I happened to attend the trial advocacy training by Just Advocacy Uganda, and during that training, we had to begin with what they call an end in mind. Like, we draft submissions before even filing the case. So when we were trying the case, you draft submissions and then you were saying, during cross-examination, PW said this and this and this. So their point was like, when you're examining, make sure that those, because you want to draw to your submission is. So it would mean we would research everything, and at the first try, you already have my submission is. So as the try is ongoing, you keep typing, saying, yeah, say this, yeah, say this, yeah, say this. So even when you're reading your witness, you are looking at your submissions, has it come out what I want? Even when you're filing witness statements, has it come out? And so you had to begin with that in mind. It talks of read, that was thorough research before failing. So when the time we go for the trial thing, you are there asking questions, but you're looking at the submissions like, does it bring out what I want at the end? Basically, what do I want at the end of the trial? So until you have that in mind, like, don't fail your case. And it would speak that point of researching before failing your pleadings. And him, such as when you said him one time, he emphasized it of, please, others first fail and then start researching, and that's when you know that, I didn't even have a cause of action. And then, yeah, when we talk of people and networking, I used to tell my colleagues that most of the legal jobs are hidden. They rarely advertise for jobs in law firm advertising or what, one or two would advertise. So it's only your colleagues who know that actually so left, now they are looking for staff. So if you're not networking, well, you won't know. And I keep telling people that your name is being mentioned in places where you are not. Whatever they are speaking about you is your brand. So if you're there doing Manyanga and speaking about Manyanga about you, that's what you delay. And then when we talk of clients, yeah, people look so much on client acquisition, but they even forget the client retention. So you're always chasing for more clients instead of handling the ones you have and retain them well. So, and then God. My real thing when it comes to God, there are places I've been and someone saying, but Alfred, how did you get here? And I'm like, but when God introduces you, that is my thing, because I'm like, even me, I don't know. I'll use my senior ELISON here, for example. I'm Muyaka. Well, would I have met ELISON KARUGANGA from nowhere? But you get it. So imagine, how did ELISON come and say you come and also do things together? But maybe because you also, maybe they're also in your room and they said, you want to also do things. Alfred has a passion for these young lawyers. You come and do together. So, and this, I think it goes back to the passion and the work you're doing. And thank you for really emphasizing that bit. And you're having it today. And so those who are joining us today, I'm sure you're enjoying the conversation. Today is probably for young lawyers. I think that's even why the seniors have left. That's why I think Eddie has not left, but network has taken him out somehow, so that we concentrate on the young lawyers and we launch our young lawyer due service conversations. And another young lawyer here is looking at me with this burning question. Do you want to take over, Simon?
Thank you so much, Alfred. Whenever I see you talk about God, anyway, I normally don't have anything useful to add, like our dear justices. When we're overwhelmed, they simply say, I have read in draft, I agree with the orders proposed, and I have nothing useful to add. But talking about that, earlier, Mr. Derek, you talked about the key pillars that the Judicial Service Commission conversations for the young lawyers are going to focus on. And you indicated that it is very important that when we look at all of them, we have a pool of young lawyers who are able to meet the demands of the market. And now we have a challenge, as you're aware, the challenge to do with the backlog, the challenge in the judiciary. Because at some time back, someone made a comment on X. Someone had a use of X. And someone said that the legal profession is the most privileged profession in the country, that the framers of the Constitution created an entire arm of government entire arm of government for the legal profession. And with that arm of government being trusted to deliver justice, and now, because he was comparing health and other professions, they just have ministries, a segment of the arm of government. Now, we have an arm of government which is struggling with the backlog, and the lawyer's lawyer has always preached the gospel of mission-based judges. And Alfred made a very significant comment that why can't we have mission-based magistrates, where young lawyers will come in and they'll be able to make sure that that constitutional mandate under the Constitution is put to good use to ensure that the justice is delivered. And that is the message the lawyer's lawyer, ELISON Karuganga, is preaching. What is your view about mission-based judges under the Constitution?
Maybe just to add more light to that, because it's Article 142 Clause 2. It has that provision of where the business of the court so requires, I'm sure. And then the President on behalf of the Judicial Service Commission can appoint people who qualify to be judicial officers, sorry, to be judges, to come in. Now I'm paraphrasing, to come in and sort. Let me say now, like the case backlog, and once they are done, they can go. So they can be on a 2-year contract, 3 years, come in on a mission, as ELISON calls it, mission to sort the backlog and go away. Like that, because for a long time, the business of the court has so required, because of, at least now, the case backlog is not the requirement. And we have a pool of very many retired judicial officers, very many people who could come in, just do that bit, just come in, deliver, handle with a mission to handle case backlog, like they give him a number of cases and he goes out, instead of having maybe people who are acting, not to acting judges, but acting knowing that after here I may be appointed or what. But this one is coming in, because when you're acting, it's like you're on probation, and you are trying to appease the person who is watching you on probation to really make you permanent. But we're looking at mission-based judges, the point that you are coming in, you're on a contract for 3 years, you're given a mission to clear this number of cases and go away. And we are using the example like how we have with regard to arbitration, we have regard with the in tax appeals tribunal, where we have people delivering the same kind of services, because there are lawyers who go to the tax appeals tribunal to handle cases, but they still doing practice as well, like doing both. They don't necessarily sit there for forever, but they can go. Even lawyers and arbitration practitioners, you're a lawyer, but once there is a matter to be arbitrated upon, you go handle it as sitting as an arbitrator there, and then you come back. So he has been preaching that message for quite long, and today, as we launch also the Young Lawyer Judicial Service Conversation Series, we didn't want to leave out that bit. And our first question is, because we know young lawyers are often the bridge between tradition and innovation. So the tradition is we have the judges appointed on a permanent basis, and we go with all now the permanent benefits. So they are now like permanent and pensionable. But now there is the innovation of, there's this element of, we can actually have this mission-based judge to come 1 or 2 years, given to clear backlog and go away, like the way we do like tribunals. Another example would be the NRM petition, election petition is, they are primary, and then we are having people, there are lawyers who are going to sit, I'm sure I saw the very many rulings, they would handle, after now they are back into practice. So it's the same element is trying to push to be accommodated even with the judiciary, to fight the case backlog, so as as a young lawyer, let's now you're still a young lawyer in our eyes, and you know that we are often the bridge between tradition and innovation, and going back to how you were called on to handle the Stella Nyanzi matter because you are the one. actually, you went as mission based counsel because you are the one who knew take at that point, and like how so you went on a mission based counsel to handle that with your knowledge. So how would you see this contributing? How would you see young lawyers generally contributing the future of mission-based judge skills and technology now? So you went on a mission-based counsel to handle that with your knowledge. So how would you see this contributing? How would you see young lawyers generally contributing the future of mission-based judging in the future? I hope the question has been clarified, Don. Thank you.
Yes. Thank you so much. I think that is a very good innovation and which should actually be adopted. One, it fits within the welfare of young lawyers because you're going to be paid for it, you're getting money. But also, it helps with improving access to justice. Now, we may not understand the pain that people go through until we also start arrested. A clip by Justice Egonantende where he said that there is a practice direction or an instruction that says you should be able to determine a bail application immediately. You shouldn't refer a bail ruling to another date, simply to respond judge. Justice Gola, yes. James. He has a ruling. For me, I call it my Bible for bail applications. Yes. Dr. Kiza Besigye versus Uganda, where he says that there should be a reason as to why an applicant for a bail application should go back empty-handed. Now, in that ruling, he introduced a very unique remedy in criminal law called interim bail. Now, whenever I go to court and a judicial officer wants to adjourn my the ruling,
yes,
I ask for interim bail. And I even give an authority for it. There should be a reason as to why someone should leave court empty-handed when I apply for bail. There should be a reason as to why I'm not granted bail, and sound reasons.
Yes.
So, some of these issues can be addressed by mission-based judges and magistrates. For example, why should we have someone being tried for simple cases and you're wasting time and resources on that case, and yet these are things that can be handled in a session? For example, you may have regional sessions. You hire lawyers, you tell them you're going to be magistrates for these cases, and you handle those cases within probably a month or two. You're improving access to justice. Someone is heard, and you have a ruling, the decision is made, and everyone leaves. But you hear stories of someone being on remand for 10 years, and yet you have you've empowered and skilled people. You have the young lawyers. The only difference between the young lawyers who are on this side of the bar and the young lawyers on the bench is an application that was allowed to join the other side, to cross over.
Yes.
That's the only difference. In terms of qualifications, they have the same qualifications. But you have someone who has to handle 1,000 cases every month. And trust me, even the senior judicial officers are not able to do that kind of work. Even look at our settings, the law firms. Our junior staff do most of the work, the donkey work. Now, when it comes in some divisions, someone is only focusing on commercial law at the commercial division or criminal cases in the criminal division. But you have a magistrate who has to handle criminal cases and civil cases. On top of that, you also want them to file reports and also to account for resources coming to the station. But if you have particular, for example, why should we have cases that date to 2020 in 2025? Half a decade. And yet, you have, when you call for applications for members of the bar to join the bench, you have 30,000 applicants, 20,000, or whatever. They come in thousands. I don't know, we'll even reach millions at some point. But, and yet, you are able to utilize these people. Let them come and have these cases sorted. We may not appreciate, from a commercial perspective, we may not appreciate these things. But when it comes to criminal law, at least, we should not crowd our prisons. The failure to utilize mission-based magistrates and judges or judicial officers actually has an impact on the economy. Remember, you have to remind these people, you must have prison officers to man the prisons. You must feed them in the prisons. You have to transport them whenever they have to attend court. And the law says every 2 weeks they must be in court. So imagine a situation where someone is on remand for 10 years. How much money have you spent on that person? Only at the end of the 10 years to acquit this person. So I think if we utilize this innovation, we are able to not only reduce on case backlog, but to also deliver tangible justice. Tangible justice. I handled a case where a client was on remand for over 8 months. Now, when we applied for bail, mandatory bail in the High Court, they rushed to send this person to the High Court. And at the end of the day, court granted bail. But why should someone be on remand for 8 months before a case is committed to the High Court and they're in custody? They will never get that time back. So we may not appreciate some of these things because it says maybe civil law or commercial law, but we appreciate them much better when this time you are an advocate and you are criminally charged and you have to go and make a bail application. And you start feeling the pain if you're a judicial officer when they also adjourn your case to deliver a ruling. Or when your fellow judicial officer says, I'm not in the mood to hear your bail application. That is when you start to appreciate that actually these things are real and they affect every one of us. So I think, and in some countries, I think they utilize this kind of process. And I think we've also read decisions. I think at some point in Uganda, we may have a precedent in Uganda where they could co-opt people to sit on the Supreme Court to determine some cases. So I think if we utilize this very well, of course with the necessary safeguards, we are able to not only improve our welfare as lawyers, but also to deliver justice to the people who need it. To me, I think this is very good. I don't know if it's something that the judiciary has picked up. Alfred, I don't know if, and I don't know why they are actually not utilizing it, because every time we keep on complaining about case backlog, and yet you have the tools, you have the people with ideas. You just need to have a conversation with them and structure this and see how you can utilize, for example, the young lawyers, deploy them. Let them go to these hard-to-reach areas. And again, our young lawyers, we need to also know that in our first years of practice, we have to suffer. So do not only want Buganda Road Court or Mengo. When you're called to serve, even as the mission-based magistrate, you're ready to serve even in the hard-to-reach areas. Yes. So, Alfred, this will help us improve our welfare as lawyers, but also, and most importantly, helping people access justice. Yes.
Thank you. I think you have delivered the point home, and I don't want to add any more on that. And for those who are just joining us, you are late, but don't worry, this version has been recorded. It's on YouTube Live and on TikTok. You have heard Derek since 7 p.m. It's now 9. At this point in time, I think most of the questions or the comments, I've read them, and in case any person has a question or comment, you can share. As we look for them, I would just want to invite Derek to give us his parting shots as we head to as we launch the Young Lawyer Justice Conversation Series. Sorry, young lawyer. You know when the excitement is much and even forget what you're launching. But yeah, today we have launched the Young Judicial Service Young Lawyer Judicial Service Conversation Series, and we had none other than Derek as we were launching them. At this point, I just want to invite him to give his parting shots, and we call it a wonderful night. Over to you, Derek.
Thank you so much, Fred, for this opportunity. It's always an honor and a privilege to be invited to share experience and the journey with other people. Not everyone gets the opportunity, but it's really a privilege and an honor, and I'm humbled to be considered a young lawyer even after even after leaving the group. But it's really a privilege, and I want to encourage our young lawyers that tough times never last, but tough people do.
Wow.
So I know the challenges you're going through. I'm a living testimony of the challenges. I know what it means to think about your next paycheck. I know what it means to have no meal. I know what it means to desire to drive a car but you cannot afford. I know what it means to look at the nice apartments that other people are living in and you're not able to afford them. I know what it means to burn to have a platform to just have an opportunity to express and to showcase your skills, but you do not have that opportunity. I know what it means to go through all these challenges, but I want to assure you that at the right time, you reap the harvest. Just hang in there, continue doing the right thing, continue praying hard, continue persevering. I know at the right time, as the Bible says, you will reap the harvest. I don't know if I'm reaping it, Alfred, but you know, the money will come, definitely. I can assure you. There is, we all know, everyone believes that there will be, there is that deal that will come and will change your life. Every lawyer dreams of that, and it will come to pass. So whenever you feel discouraged, kindly remember that you're not alone in this. There's so many people, but be encouraged that some people have been through it, they've gone through it, and they've succeeded, and you will succeed. It's just a matter of time.
Yeah, thank you, Derek. That was very, very inspiring. As I said, the money will come. And from my hand and on behalf of the service conversation, which are now the Young Lawyer Judicial Service Conversation series, which have also been launched. We thank you for joining us today. We really thank you for the richness you have brought to today's conversation. Sorry, yeah, everyone who has been on call, you will agree with me that your voice has been very steady throughout the conversation. It's been very thoughtful and deeply encouraging. I'm sure you saw the comments. People are encouraged by whatever you have been doing, even just from this conversation. And it was encouraging not only the young lawyers who are listening, but to everyone who really believes in a strong and a responsive justice system. Your reflection is reminded us that leadership is not about age or title, because at least for you led with the title of Young Lawyers, Chair Young Lawyers Committee, but that point we attend that actually, Alfred, you're leading without a title. So at least your reflection reminded us that actually you don't need about the age or about the title. You don't need to be too much of a senior to mentor others, because you have been mentoring others even when you're still a young lawyer. And we thank you for that. We thank you for the purpose, the honesty. We thank you for even sharing honestly the challenges which young lawyers face, because no one would want to admit in public that after graduating from the center, I remained staying in hostel for those. Because I will be like, me after graduating, I hit the ground running and everything was okay. So thank you for sharing honestly about the challenges you young lawyers face, especially even the welfare. And then for a willingness to imagine that we can do better. So tonight you have shown us that we can get there, we reap the harvest if we put in the time. The money will come. For you, it has come, and we appreciate. Simon is saying that you should leave some here. So, as today, when you were launching the Young Lawyers Judicial Service Conversation series, your contribution set the tone, which will now be open. We will be having open discussions, brave discussions, and forward-looking discussions. You have reminded the young lawyers they are not only spectators in the justice sector, but they are stakeholders, because by inviting them to serve the broader society and not serve themselves alone or not be selfish, at least now they know that they should be part of the justice society entirely, because they are stakeholders, they are builders, and in many ways, they are the features of this profession which we are fighting for. So the young lawyers, me personally, and I'm sure everyone on call, we appreciate you for the work you continue to do, for the doors you continue opening, and for the confidence you help young lawyers find in themselves. So thank you for giving your time to us, your insight, and for your passion which you brought this space, and even for your passion when you are leading, when you're sharing the Young Lawyers Committee. When you're having the Young Lawyers Symposium, which was recent, and I'm sure you learned to understand, you found out how it all went. I looked back and like, when Jericho was sharing, we'll be having these conferences in Fairway, but here we are here just looking for space and still looking for sponsors. You almost didn't have it. So at that point, I realized how much effort it took for you to have the Young Lawyers Symposium always held, how much being on board sponsors. You almost didn't have that, but it reminded me of, this is what Derek was really putting in to have this Young Lawyers Symposium done. So we appreciate you for the work you did, the work you continue to do, the doors you continue to open, and the confidence you help us to find in ourselves. So as we start this conversation, we look forward to very many conversations and talk this journey with you as we build a justice system that reflects on...
Not as a sponsor.
Not as a sponsor, but tonight you came just to launch, but another thing shall just come now to host you as a fresh senior who still has the young lawyer vibes. Thank you for sharing with us tonight, and from us, we call it a night. ELISON is not on call, but as he says, is the pioneer of this conversation. So to the lawyers, when that time reaches and you're looking for a person to vote, there is no other person, as Elson said, tulimujawo musajja asinga Elson, because as he was the only, we were thinking he's the lawyer's lawyer, but he has now broadened show that he's even the young lawyer's lawyer, even calls himself a young lawyer. So as and when we have those elections, they keep being postponed, but they will have them. Please don't forget to vote Elson to be our commissioner of the service commission, because tulimujawo musajja asinga Elson. From us to all of you, have a good night. Just a minute. Ended.